I've been noticed by my friend's son. It was just after the funeral of my old friend had ended. I saw him, surrounded by those wolf-eyed relatives, being bullied terribly. I thought to myself, might as well take in another idle person. My compassion stirred, so I took him home with me. But I never expected that pitiful kid who wouldn't even dare lift his head at first would sneak into my room in the middle of the night, staring at me with eyes like he was eyeing prey. Those eyes filled with ill intentions and a crazed possessiveness. If I hadn't attended my friend's funeral, I originally planned to slip away right after the ceremony, but then I saw that boy surrounded by a bunch of adults, and I couldn't help myself, leaning against a nearby tree to eavesdrop a bit. These people wanted to swallow up the house and the money whole, saying they'd raise him until he was grown, but the tone in their words made it sound like they were bestowing some great favor. As for the inheritance his mother left behind, they had no intention of giving him a single cent. I turned my head for a glance at the woman smiling gently in the gravestone photo, silently cursing in my heart. You really were good to a fault. I told you early on that relatives can't be trusted, but you just wouldn't listen. Now look what happened. They've ganged up, bullying your orphaned son here. But at the time, I hadn't thought about intervening. The one who was good to me was his mother, not him. And I'm certainly no living bodhisattva saving all beings. I was just a bit curious about what he'd do, whether he'd cry and beg those people. In the end, he just stood there with his head bowed, not saying a word. Boring as hell. I dusted off my hands, ready to leave. But right then, he suddenly lifted his head, looking straight at me. His eyes were red-rimmed, but they radiated defiance, and full of wariness. In that instant, it was like seeing myself from years ago. That same look, living like a stray dog, ready to lunge and bite at any moment. He and I just stared at each other like that, neither willing to look away. I raised an eyebrow at him, smiling, as I asked, "Want to come with me?" Those people who were nagging away only then noticed that I, an outsider, was still there. A flash of embarrassment crossed their faces, then immediately turned to anger as they shouted, "This is our family business." I couldn't be bothered with them, walking straight up to the boy, dropping the smile. "I'm a friend of your mother's. She helped me once. I can take you in." But I swept my gaze over the others present, emphasizing each word. "What they've swallowed of yours. Once you have the ability, get it back yourself. I won't help." Those people looked like they'd been stripped naked in broad daylight, immediately clamoring and cursing me for slandering them. I ignored them completely, just staring at the boy. Of course, you could choose them too. It's up to you. In the end, he came home with me. I arranged for him to stay in the guest room. After closing the door, that uncomfortable feeling of a stranger invading my private territory came rushing back. I really shouldn't have brought him home. Feeling annoyed inside, I hid in the study, hoping to suppress this emotion by working on drafts. Early the next morning, I was woken by a WeChat message from a client. I'd casually sent the revised draft last night. This was the first order. After my best friend Lily Rose and I set up the design studio, calling it a studio, it was really just the two of us. This client was truly hard to please, practically demanding something like vibrant 5-colored black that could kill you. Luckily, last night's draft seemed to satisfy him. I rubbed my stiff neck as I stepped out of the study, and glancing at the living room, saw a figure sitting silently at the dining table. It startled me, and this time I was genuinely irritated. "What are you doing sitting there without a sound?" He seemed startled by my sudden morning grumpiness, freezing for a moment. Then, he tried to act calm as he pushed the paper on the table toward me. "Sorry, I'll be more careful next time. This is the agreement I wrote. Please take a look." I walked over in confusion and sat down across from him, picking up the paper to read, nearly bursting into laughter. Party A left blank. Party B, Ethan Lane. The agreement basically stated that all living expenses incurred, while Party B stayed at my home, plus high school tuition, would be repaid in full with interest 1 year after he graduated college. I glanced at the person across from me over the paper, teasing him on purpose. "How are you so sure? You can pay it all back 1 year after college? Raising kids is expensive these days. And why only count high school tuition? What about college tuition and living expenses? Don't I need to cover those?" Ethan Lane's face flushed red, his speech starting to stutter. "We could add a clause to the agreement. If it's not paid by the deadline, the interest doubles." He hurriedly explained, "I'll definitely pay it back. Don't worry, my grades are decent. I can apply for scholarships in college. On weekends and breaks in high school, I can work part-time, save up for college, I can also. Alright. I couldn't listen anymore. The more he said, the more far-fetched it got. It's not like I couldn't afford to support him. And he wants to work part-time. These shady bosses who specialize in exploiting student workers, coming up with all sorts of ways to dock pay. I've seen plenty of that back in the day. No need for him to suffer like that. Just be good for me. Focus all your energy on studying. Don't even think about part-time work. I have money. Supporting you is no problem. No need to sign this agreement either. Consider it me repaying the favor to your mother. I tossed the agreement on the table, standing up to go wash my face. If you don't sign, I won't stay here anymore. What a hassle. Throwing a tantrum here for what? I really wanted to yell that in his face. But when I saw the seriousness and stubbornness in the depths of Ethan Lane's eyes, saw his straight back in the morning light, my heart skipped a beat. Suddenly I understood. This wasn't just an IOU. This was the last shred of self-respect left in this homeless stray pup that was him. I sat back down, picked up the pen, and in the Party A column, signed my name with a flourish. Bailey Grant. Seeing the person across clearly breathe a sigh of relief, I felt a bit amused. Clean up a bit and we'll go out for breakfast. Then to the supermarket to buy your daily necessities. If I remember right, school starts in 2 weeks. We can buy whatever's missing, then. I glanced at him again. Those ungrateful relatives of yours are probably already moved into your house by now. Before the supermarket, we can swing by there. If there's anything you can't part with, go in and get it yourself. Once you're here, you can call me. I paused. A bit awkward. With our age difference and relationship, calling me aunt would make me feel old. Calling me sister feels weird. Bailey, I can cook. No need to eat out, he said, standing up and heading to the fridge in the kitchen. Fine. Calling me by name works too. But the next second he turned back, his eyes full of shock looking at me. Only then did I remember my fridge had nothing but alcohol. In the end, we still went out for breakfast. Then we went back to his old house. I didn't go up with him. In less than half an hour he came down, holding only his mother's portrait, a few books, and some clothes. His face looked awful, eyes red-rimmed. Probably those ungrateful relatives said more unpleasant things. But I didn't comfort him. I had no obligation to soothe his emotions. Some thresholds you have to cross yourself. Driving to the supermarket, I let him pick his own stuff. While I waited at the checkout, that's when my best friend Lily Rose called. As soon as I answered, I had to furrow my brows and hold the phone away. Big sis, I need comforting. I felt a bit helpless. Hey beautiful, please control your volume, or my hearing loss bill will be on you. Spill it. What's up this time? Isn't it my dad tricking me into another blind date? I just had a big fight with him. Big sis, let me crash on your living room couch tonight. She fake cried on the other end. No room left. Someone's already in the living room. What? Comrade Bailey Grant, you're something. You've even learned the golden house hides a beauty trick? What the hell is she thinking? Total chaos. I rubbed my temples and briefly recounted the story to her. After hearing, she sighed repeatedly, finally insisting on treating Ethan Lane to hot pot at noon, saying she felt for the kid, had to properly nourish him. When Ethan Lane came out, he hadn't bought much in daily necessities, but a big basket full of vegetables. I looked at him puzzled. He explained softly, let me cook from now on. Eating out is expensive and unhygienic. The cashier gave us a complicated look, scanning back and forth between us. Definitely a misunderstanding. I paid without changing expression. In the car, I told Ethan Lane about Lily Rose, inviting him to hot pot. He had no reaction, just said whatever. On the way to the hot pot place, I silently prayed that Lily Rose's blabbermouth would tone it down a bit. Entering the hot pot restaurant, I immediately saw Lily Rose waving frantically at us, and also, her eyes lighting up like she'd struck gold when she saw Ethan Lane. I resignedly led Ethan Lane over, introducing them. Ethan Lane, this is your Aunt Lily Rose. The woman across exploded. Aunt what aunt? Ethan, don't listen to her nonsense. I'm your sister Lily Rose. Ethan Lane humored her with a sister, then was sent off to get dipping sauces. I knew right away she had something to say privately. Lily Rose dropped the playful act, seriously asking, Comrade Bailey Grant, be honest, did you bring him home because you fancied his looks? I looked at her like she was an idiot, picked up my water to drink, ignoring her. She weakly guessed again, don't tell me you want to be his mom? I hadn't swallowed the water yet, and choked, coughing violently. Lily Rose flusteredly handed me tissues. Oh dear, I was just guessing. You're the one who hates trouble the most, right? Don't tell me it's to repay a favor. I know you. You always keep things separate. You'd never raise someone's son, just because his mother helped you back then. Yes, I wouldn't. So what wire in my brain short-circuited? To impulsively bring him home? Was it really just that moment of eye contact, seeing my old self in him? Even I couldn't say for sure. Ethan Lane returned with the sauces, and Lily Rose and I tacitly dropped the topic. During the hot pot meal, with the broadcaster Lily Rose there, the atmosphere didn't sink. Instead, Ethan Lane was teased red-faced several times. Before getting in the car to leave, Lily Rose called me back, glancing at Ethan Lane in the passenger seat, lowering her voice to advise. Why you brought him home? If you don't want to say, I won't ask. But raising a kid isn't easy. If you need help with anything later, just tell me anytime. Don't shoulder everything alone. Hear me? I drawled on purpose. Got it. Worrywart and Lily Rose. She glared at me, finally letting me go. Before heading home, we drove to a furniture store, ordered him a wardrobe and a desk, with home delivery. The guest room would be his from now on. After settling everything, back home, I dove into the bedroom for a nap, leaving Ethan Lane to arrange things himself. By dusk, I was actually woken by the aroma of food. I rubbed my eyes groggily and entered the living room. Under the warm yellow light, Ethan Lane was carrying dishes from the kitchen. I looked at the table full of delicious food, confusedly lifting my head to him. Did I bring home a little house fairy? Ethan Lane was a bit shy. I didn't know what you like, so I made a little of everything. Ended up making too much. Sorry. I waved it off as no big deal. Sat at the table, still a bit dazed. So this is what it's like to have someone cook for you at home. In the days that followed, Ethan Lane and I didn't interact much. I spent most of my time holed up in the study drawing drafts, occasionally going to the studio to meet clients with Lily Rose. Since Ethan Lane arrived, the house was always spotless with windows shining. On the balcony, there were even a few lush green plants. 2 weeks flew by, and it was Ethan Lane's school opening day. When I dropped him off for enrollment, that's when I heard from the teacher that he ranked first in the school last final exam. This is what he calls decent grades. I turned to look at the teenager's flushed ears, and his back unconsciously straightening a bit more, feeling amused inside, just like a cat. Since the school wasn't far from home, after asking his opinion, we decided he'd commute. The next day, I went out and bought him a bicycle. Just like that, he officially started junior year, and I threw all my energy into the studio. In a blink, it was the National Day holiday. I didn't expect to suddenly fall ill on the first day of the break, probably from being too busy with the studio before. Nerves stretched too tight, now suddenly relaxing. My body couldn't handle it. Ethan Lane's school had training camp. He left early in the morning. He wouldn't be home the whole holiday. I rummaged randomly for some pills in the living room cabinet, swallowed them with cold water, then groggily went back to bed. When I woke, it was probably from thirst. In my daze, I seemed to hear rummaging sounds in the living room. I forced myself up, grabbing a thick book nearby, tiptoeing toward the living room, only to come face to face with the person there. I awkwardly lowered the half-raised book. Ethan Lane? Why was he back? Before I could ask, Ethan Lane pursed his lips, holding a thermometer gun and approaching. Before I could react, I blankly let him take my temperature. You're running a fever. He stared at the number on the thermometer, his face darkening further. Yeah, no wonder I ache all over. Why are you back? Ethan Lane turned to put the thermometer in the drawer, then picked up the medicine box on the table to check. I came back for a forgotten book, saw the medicine in the living room and guessed you might be sick, so I asked the teacher for leave, skipping the camp. I frowned. I can take care of myself. Hurry back to camp. He picked up the cup I'd used earlier, looking at me. So, this is how you take care of yourself with cold water, and taking random meds. I was immediately speechless. In that moment, it felt like he was the adult, and I was the clueless kid. We're out of fever reducers. I'll go buy some. There's warm water in the kitchen. Go drink some. With that, he grabbed the keys and left. I sat alone on the sofa for a long time, still in shock. Back when I had acute appendicitis, I went to the hospital for surgery alone, hospitalized without telling anyone. When Lily Rose found out later, her eyes red. She scolded me for not treating her as a friend. It wasn't about her, it's that I don't like relying on others. Subconsciously, resisting forming too close relationships. Lost in thought, the door opening interrupted me. Ethan Lane jogged back, still panting when he entered, forehead beaded with sweat. Without resting, he went to the kitchen for hot water. Then squatted down, in front of me, carefully reading the medicine instructions. I just watched him, busily emotionlessly. This feeling of being cared for by someone, honestly, I'm not used to it at all. In the end, Ethan Lane didn't go to camp. Under his supervision, I recovered quickly. During the holiday, I suggested he go play with friends, but he shook his head each time, preferring to stay home with me. Our days were pretty simple, either going to the market together, or drawing the curtains in broad daylight, lounging in the living room watching old movies. Occasionally after dinner at dusk, we'd stroll in the garden downstairs. But even so, we still talked little. The holiday slipped to its last day. Lily Rose showed up with a pile of hot pot ingredients, looking utterly wilted. As soon as she saw me, she blurted, "That man's back in the country." The man she meant was Victor King, our college friend. All these years, Lily Rose denied it verbally, Jenna, but her refusing blind dates was mostly because of him, their tangled romance. As an outsider, I saw clearly, but couldn't say much. Lily Rose and I are both kitchen disasters. In the end, Ethan Lane took the ingredients to the kitchen. Lily Rose followed, expertly opening the fridge for alcohol, only to find it stuffed with veggies. She turned to ask me, "Where'd you put the booze?" Ethan Lane sidestepped her, taking a low-alcohol bottle from the wine cabinet in the dining room, whispering to her, "She just recovered, can't drink." My heart skipped, nervously glancing at Lily Rose. Sure enough, the next second she started accusing me, saying I hid my illness from her. I had to explain, it was just a common fever, no big deal. Taking the chance, I glanced at the busy back in the kitchen, wondering if Ethan Lane did it on purpose. To change the subject, I quickly asked, "Victor King back to find you?" Lily Rose chugged some wine, a bit dejected. "Yeah, he called me, said he wants to reconcile." As soon as she finished, she slammed the glass on the coffee table, getting worked up. "Who does he think he is? What makes him think I'd wait in place for him? I've got plenty of young admirers." I looked at her forced nonchalance, deliberately reaching toward her. "Give me the phone. I'll call him for you. Tell him straight, not to bother you anymore." Lily Rose clearly froze, just for a second, then like a hamster guarding food, stuffed the phone in her bosom, looking at me aggrieved. "What are you doing? Even you're messing with me." I sighed. "I just want you to see your own heart." But what right does he have, disappearing abroad for years without a word, now back with a casual reconcile, acting like those years never happened? Lily Rose bowed her head, her voice carrying a sob. I scooted closer, patting her shoulder. "All right, just test him some more." When Ethan Lane brought the hot pot to the table, Lily Rose had polished off a bottle alone. At the table, she insisted on pulling Ethan Lane to drink too. I smiled helplessly. He's still a kid. What drinking? Lily Rose ignored it. "Ethan's almost an adult. A little won't hurt." "Hey Comrade Bailey Grant, don't be so rigid." In the end, I watched wide-eyed as Ethan Lane actually held out his glass. "Fine, I can't be bothered." We ate this meal for a long time. Lily Rose laughed and chatted the whole time, but I could see how upset she was inside, how much she cared for Victor King back then. That's how hard his leaving hit her. All these years, she'd been waiting for him really. By the end, Ethan Lane was a bit tipsy. Lily Rose, well, suddenly started her drunken antics, yelling for Victor King to pick her up. Looking at these two drunks, one big, one small, my temples throbbed. I helped Ethan Lane to his room first. Before lying down, he mumbled groggily, telling me not to clear the dishes. He'd do it in the morning. I found it amusing, such an old soul personality. Back in the living room, I squatted in front of Lily Rose, asking, "Thought it through? I'll call him now. I know you're not drunk." Lily Rose immediately stopped fussing, silent for a long time before saying, "I miss him so much." I looked at her and softly replied, "Okay, I know." I took her phone, dialed Victor King, gave him my address. Then I sat with Lily Rose waiting. About half an hour later, the doorbell rang. Lily Rose, who was sprawled on the table, suddenly sat up straight, but then poured herself another glass, sprawling back down. I could only shake my head helplessly, getting up to open the door. The man outside, unseen for years, his cold aura even stronger than before, but the worry in his eyes undeniable. We nodded at each other. I stepped aside to let him in. He strode to Lily Rose, pulling her into his arms, gently calling her name. In that moment, all his coldness vanished, leaving only tenderness unique to Lily Rose. I stood at the entrance watching this, my mind briefly dazed, as if back to college days. Back then, Lily Rose pulled this fake drunk trick plenty, always making me call Victor King to pick her up. That bright young man, always rushing over in a panic, carefully coaxing the drunk girl. The memory overlapped with the scene before me, as if nothing had changed. Victor King carried Lily Rose out horizontally. I looked at the one, burying her head in his neck, pretending confusion, suddenly calling out, "Victor King. What I mean is, Lily Rose is my most important friend. This is the last time I help you." At this point, both he and Lily Rose understood. He turned, looking at me seriously. "Thank you." I waved him off, closing the door. The next day at the studio, Lily Rose arrived late, with a blatant strawberry mark on her neck. I looked at her, eyes full of teasing smile, but asked nothing. Lily Rose muttered to herself like confessing, "Haven't agreed yet," but we both knew it was just a matter of time. The two of them were like playing a push-pull game, with the ending written long ago. Honestly, I envied Lily Rose's courage, envied her, daring to place her whole heart in someone's hands. Unlike me, who seemed to have lost the ability to love someone. The studio Lily Rose and I ran, under our joint efforts, was gradually getting on track. I had more free time. Sometimes when Ethan Lane was at school, I'd go alone to the subway station, watching the crowds on the platform, guessing what they were thinking. Time felt stagnant at times, rushing by at others. In a flash, it was New Year's Eve. Right then, I got an unexpected call. I was at the supermarket buying flour. Here's what happened. Ethan Lane somehow heard from Lily Rose that I like fried pork, Xiao Su Ru, secretly learned to make it, planning to show off tonight. But we were out of flour, and the kitchen had soup simmering. He couldn't leave, so he sent me out to buy. The call was from my dad. I don't know where he got my number. As soon as I answered, he barked, "Your aunt was cleaning, found a letter your mom left for you. Come get it yourself." Then he hung up abruptly. The aunt he mentioned was my nominal stepmother, a woman, barely 10 years older than me. I texted Ethan Lane, then still drove back to that house. The woman opened the door. I stood at the entrance, no intention of going in. My dad came from the living room, tone hostile. Don't know how to greet. I suppressed the urge to turn and leave, repeating one word. "Letter." The woman seemed afraid we'd argue, hurriedly running to the living room. When she returned, envelope in hand, her eyes held flattery, tentatively asking, "Stay for dinner?" I'd run out of patience, snatching the envelope from her and turning to go. Behind me, my dad's dissatisfied shout, "Why hold her back? I consider myself without this daughter." My steps didn't stop until I was in the car, only then noticing my hand gripping the letter was shaking. Opening the letter felt like slow motion, until the first, familiar line hit my eyes. "The issues between your dad and me, little white, don't take them on yourself." I snapped the letter shut, lacking the courage to read on. A absurd feeling rose. I suddenly wanted to laugh, then laughed uncontrollably. My mom was a gentle woman who loved reading, my dad a businessman only knowing money. Back then, he fell for her at first sight, pursued relentlessly, but she wasn't moved. Yet he convinced my grandma, finally my mom, under grandma's pressure, married him. After marriage, there was a happy period. Dad did treat mom well, but then mom's health declined. Dad started fooling around outside. Mom suggested divorce. Dad refused stubbornly, dragging it out. Later mom's condition worsened, hospitalized. Dad got bolder, blatantly bringing the other woman home. Until mom's critical day, outside the OR, only me waiting. I cried my eyes red, calling, texting dad over and over, begging him to come, but all messages sank like stones. Until my phone died, the OR light went out. Mom was wheeled out under white sheet. The nurse kept asking, "Where's your dad?" I couldn't speak a word, just staring where mom was pushed. Eyes aching, swollen. Dad showed up later, neck bearing ambiguous marks. Turns out while mom was on the table, he was in bed at home with the other woman. I really don't get it. He loved mom so much at first. How could he change? Mom passed less than a month. Dad wanted to marry that woman. I disagreed, fought with him. He said if I didn't agree, Get out. Grandparents both gone. I could only turn to Mom's relatives, hoping they'd stand up for justice. But they'd all been bought off by Dad with money. On the day Dad married her, I left home. I was 16 that year. Since then, I never returned to that house. To survive, I did all sorts of odd jobs. Many shady bosses. Loved hiring underage like us. Cheap and easy to bully. That time, society beat me down plenty, but luckily, I sustained myself. Until later, I met Ethan Lane's mother. She was so kind, completely ignoring my wary fangs and claws, with a gentle yet firm way, pulling me from the mire, and sponsoring my return to school. The name Ethan Lane snapped me from memories. Ethan Lane was still home waiting for New Year's dinner. I put away the letter, immediately driving back. The moment I pushed the door open, I locked eyes with Ethan Lane, standing under the warm yellow light in the living room. He stared into my eyes for a long time, said nothing, turned to the kitchen to reheat the food. I was lucky he asked nothing. After eating, we each claimed a corner of the sofa. Neither suggested turning on TV for the gala, both finding it noisy. But sitting idle was too quiet, so I had him play some random songs on his phone. We just quietly listened to music like that. At midnight, fireworks exploded outside. The music app happened to play a song I'd never heard. A female voice sang, "Hey, you have to understand people come and go. The only constant in this world is that people always change." Later Ethan Lane told me. The song was called Passerby. Not long into the new semester, I sensed something off with Ethan Lane. Lately, when he came home, he always looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. As soon as I looked at him, he'd avoid my gaze. This went on until Thursday evening. I'd just come out of the bathroom, when I felt a gaze glued to me from the living room. I hate dawdling the most. So towel drying my wet hair, I turned toward the living room. Out with it. "What's up?" Ethan Lane tried to shrink back. "Nothing." I clicked my tongue impatiently. "If nothing, stop sneaking glances at me. It's annoying as hell." Asking one more time. "What's wrong?" "Parent-teacher meeting tomorrow." After saying that, he bowed his head. I paused. So that's what he'd been agonizing over these days. It's not that I didn't want to go, just that I had an appointment tomorrow. Timing was tricky, so I didn't respond immediately. He quickly sensed my hesitation, offering me an out. "It's fine. I know you're busy. You don't have to go." I knew full well, if he didn't want me to go, he wouldn't have hesitated so long. Thinking of that, I calculated, asking, "What time?" Ethan Lane's eyes lit up, speaking faster. 10 a.m. "You can sleep in a bit. No morning classes tomorrow. We can go out together." A drop of water slid from my hair tip just then, landing on my collarbone. A bit cold. The next second, I saw Ethan Lane's gaze hastily shift away, but his face reddened. I chuckled, leaning over to tease him on purpose. "Hey, your face is so red." He sprang up like a coil, stammering, I'm going to my room to study." Then he skirted around me, awkwardly fleeing to his room. I touched my collarbone, looking at the water on my finger, smile fading. "Ethan Lane, you don't owe me anything." His footsteps paused, resuming seconds later. The next day, Ethan Lane led me to class then left. Sitting alone at his desk was boring, so I flipped through his textbooks. The parent meeting started. Suddenly, a shrill female voice from behind diagonally. "Oh come on, who knows what tricks someone used to sweet-talk our Ethan into not even coming home." I turned toward the voice, a woman with gaudy makeup, face full of mockery. I was puzzled. When did I offend her? The woman turned to gossip with the person next, voice booming like afraid others wouldn't hear. "His dad ran off. Now his mom's gone too. As his aunt, I kindly wanted to take care of him, but some outsider jumps in, hooking our Ethan's soul away. God knows what their relationship is." As soon as she finished, the looks from people around me changed instantly. I didn't care for myself, but Ethan Lane didn't deserve such slander. My mind quickly recalled those at the cemetery that day, then glanced at her. "You're talking too much." I didn't wait for her response. Continuing, "That day at the cemetery, you all ganged up on him, forcing Ethan Lane to choose. I was right there as his mom's friend. You said you wanted to raise him, but your word's intent wasn't to seize his mom's inheritance? You're a fine aunt, all right." The woman panicked upon hearing. "You're an outsider spouting nonsense. I'm his aunt. Would I harm him?" I sneered, shaking my phone. "Actions need evidence." "Sorry, I recorded it that day." She immediately freaked, reaching to grab my phone. I raised my arm high, making her miss. Just then, the homeroom teacher entered. The woman, clearly relieved, stammered, "Lazy. Lazy to argue with you," then scurried back to her seat. I pretended to magnanimously ignore her, but inside also sighed in relief. I hadn't recorded anything, pure bluff. But thanks to her reaction, the sensible people here probably figured out the truth. The parent meeting finally began. Ethan Lane's aunt behaved, no more fuss. Instead, when I heard the teacher praise Ethan Lane as school top, I deliberately turned back to smirk triumphantly at her, making her glare furiously. After the meeting, Ethan Lane's aunt was the first to bolt. I waited till most left, then stood to go out, only to be stopped by a boy. He seemed to have mustered all courage. Was what Ethan's aunt said true? "Are you and Ethan Lane in that kind of relationship?" The boy's voice trembled, but eyes fixed on me, insisting on an answer. "I bet you like Ethan Lane, or want to be friends with him." I leaned on the desk, smiling at him. The boy's face flushed instantly, but he stayed silent. I straightened, tone more serious. "Basing guesses on others' random words is foolish. If you really like him or want to be friends, approach him directly, not through me or others behind his back." Seeing the boy's face pale, I softened a bit. "He and I aren't what you think. I'm just his mom's friend. I know you mean no harm. But remember, don't learn about someone through others' mouths." Leaving that, I sidestepped him out of the classroom. Wasted too much time already. I took out my phone while walking, planning to text Ethan Lane that I'd head back first. But looking up, I saw Ethan Lane at the stair turn. He probably heard everything. The boy saw him too, panicking and fleeing. Youth is great. Seeing Ethan Lane's lack of reaction, I joked, "Not chasing your little boyfriend?" He gave me a baffled glare, uttering two words, "Childish." I always felt I couldn't see through Ethan Lane. Sometimes, he's very cautious and reserved, giving off a freeloader vibe. Other times, he unwittingly shows maturity and sharpness. I always felt the latter was his true self. Whatever, too lazy to think. I have stuff to do. Heading out, tossing that, I hurried to the parking lot. After 2 steps, I heard footsteps behind. Why follow? Don't you have afternoon classes? I turned to look at him oddly. Ethan Lane strode alongside. The teacher gave special leave today. Then head back yourself. Before I finished, Ethan Lane interrupted. Where are you going? Can I come? He's being clingy today. I rolled my eyes, leaning close mysteriously. Don't regret it, I clearly saw in his eyes. A flash of confusion and puzzlement, but he nodded. So I drove him to the nursing home. Today visiting my college professor, Professor Dunn. On the way, I called the home ahead. Professor Dunn was still mad I hadn't visited in ages. The nurse answered. I could hear him yelling through the phone to not come. I just smiled wryly, telling the nurse I'd be there in half an hour. Ethan Lane was silent the whole way, staring out the window, not afraid. I'd sell him off. Entering Professor Dunn's room, the old man deliberately turned his back, pretending to sleep. I rubbed my temples, calling exaggeratedly, Professor Dunn, your favorite student is here to visit. His shoulders clearly shook, finally unable to hold back, turning around, but face still grumpy. I have no student as shameless as you. I quickly pushed Ethan Lane forward, flattering, he knows chess. Sure enough, Professor Dunn's eyes lit up. Professor Dunn had no kids. After his wife passed, he moved here. His lifelong hobby was chess. But sadly I didn't know how. He tried teaching me, before, but I had no talent, so he gave up. The old man's proud, clearly wanting me to visit, but when I do, he puts on airs. In the old days, I'd coax him for ages. I watched them play chess a few minutes, then snuck out. I found the doctor first, asked about his health, then paid the year's fees. If Professor Dunn knew, he'd scold me soundly. I checked the time, hurriedly drove to his favorite soup place, bought stewed soup for lunch. When I returned, the old and young were still battling intensely on the chessboard. Professor Dunn frowned in thought. Ethan Lane looked very calm. No way. Could Professor Dunn not beat him? I set out the lunch on the table. Professor Dunn sniffed the fragrant aroma of the soup, his brows immediately relaxing. Ethan, let's eat first. It had only been a short while, and he was already calling Ethan so intimately. I shot a sidelong glance at Ethan Lane, and he actually smiled back at me with a hint of pride. After lunch, the two finished their interrupted chess game. It ended in a draw. Bailey and Ethan Lane pushed the wheelchair to take Professor Dunn out for some sun. Halfway there, the wind picked up, but the old man didn't want to go back, so I told Ethan Lane to fetch a light blanket from the room. Watching Ethan Lane's receding figure, the old man suddenly remarked, "This kid's not bad." I chuckled. "You've only known him for a few hours, and you can already tell he's good," Professor Dunn said seriously. Chess skill reflects character. This kid plays chess very calmly, without all those messy thoughts. His attitude toward others is good too, neither flattering nor arrogant. He's just a bit reserved in front of you. He's told me about both of your stories. It's fate, I suppose. His mother helped you back then, now it's your turn to help him. With him by your side, I can rest easy. The old man suddenly getting sentimental like this. I didn't know how to respond, so I joked, "You rate him so highly. I'm getting jealous." Professor Dunn clicked his tongue impatiently, turning to start complaining about me, saying how long it's been since I last visited him. In the distance, Ethan Lane was approaching, holding, not just the light blanket, but also my jacket. As soon as the old man saw, he added meaningfully, "What did I say earlier? The boy's really good, right?" I didn't reply. That whole afternoon, Professor Dunn dragged Ethan Lane into a few more chess games. We stayed at the nursing home for dinner, and only then did the old man contentedly let Ethan Lane go. Ethan Lane is truly remarkable, always able to make people like him quickly, like Lily Rose. And Professor Dunn too. I'm not like that. If not for Ethan Lane's mother insisting on pulling me in back then, Lily Rose being shamelessly persistent, plus Professor Dunn's constant nagging, I could probably stay alone forever. On the drive home, Professor Dunn called. I put it on speaker. As soon as I answered, I regretted it. Professor Dunn's voice, furious to the point of spitting blood, immediately filled the car. "Did you sneak off to pay again? How many times have I told you, I have money? Keep the hard-earned cash you make for yourself. Tomorrow I'll have the nursing home refund you." I quickly pulled over, cleared my throat. "I know you have money, Professor Dunn, but that doesn't conflict with me showing filial piety, does it? Besides, back in college, I mooched so many meals at your wife's place. Still haven't paid for them. Consider this meal compensation." Nonsense. Whose meals cost that much? If your teacher's wife knew about this, she'd scold me to death. The old man was so angry his voice cracked. I resolutely stayed silent, letting him rant over the phone. In the end, when he insisted on the refund, I finally raised my voice. "If you really get it refunded, then I'll never bring Ethan Lane to play chess with you again." The other end went silent for a few seconds, then a beep, and the old man hung up. Ethan Lane burst out laughing. I laughed along too. A few days later, I obediently went to the nursing home, got scolded again, sweet-talked my way through, and finally got past the payment issue. When leaving, Professor Dunn repeatedly instructed, next time I must bring Ethan Lane, but into the second semester of junior year. Ethan Lane's coursework clearly got heavier. At the previous parent meeting, I'd noticed, each student's desk had their target university name posted. Ethan Lane aimed for the best law school in the country. I'd never demanded how he study, but he himself seemed to be holding his breath, charging full force toward that goal. During that time, I took him to the nursing home a few times. The weather was getting hotter. If Lily Rose hadn't called, asking about summer plans, I'd have forgotten summer break was coming. "Hey kind big sis, bring Ethan along with me. Don't you love surfing the most? Plus, Ethan needs to relax a bit." I glanced at Ethan Lane sitting by the tea table, peeling fruit, leaning back on the sofa, lazily saying, "It's scorching hot today. I don't want to move." Lily Rose yelled into the phone, "Those perfect muscles of yours. Not showing them off is a waste." She yelled so loud, I'm sure Ethan Lane heard, because I saw his ears turn red. Then he handed me a peeled orange segment, whispering coaxingly, "Come on, let's go." At the airport, seeing Victor King trailing behind Lily Rose's bus, I wasn't surprised at all. Lily Rose pulled me aside, whispering complaints. "This guy's scary." At dawn he was at my door with luggage, insisting on coming. I looked at the culprit. He sensed my gaze, quickly hid his hands behind his back, putting on a pitiful look. "I just returned home. No friends, really. Adding one ticket. You don't mind, right?" Lily Rose exploded upon hearing. Still pretending. Keep pretending. I couldn't help bursting into laughter. "All right, come along. More people, more fun." Ethan Lane initially just greeted, then helped push our luggage for check-in. Lily Rose leaned close to my ear again, giggling. Why do I feel Ethan now is getting, how to say, handsome and mature. Seeing you two walk in together earlier, only 2 words came to mind. Perfect match. Aunt Lily Rose. Behave yourself. I sighed. Lily Rose was left speechless by me, glaring. You could throw back that you're such a fossil. Then turned and ignored me. My mind flashed to that evening scene. The one where Ethan Lane whispered, "Come on, let's go." I habitually reached for the orange he offered, only to hear him say with a smile, "Short arms can't reach." Then somehow I agreed in a daze. On the plane, don't know what trick Victor King used, but he swapped to sit next to Lily Rose. I heard them, one causing trouble, one coaxing, listening until I dozed off unknowingly. Woke when the plane landed with a jolt. I groggily opened my eyes, realizing at some point, I'd leaned on Ethan Lane's shoulder. My mind went a bit blank. Ethan Lane felt me move and turned his head, his hot breath on my ear. Awake. We're here. The distance was too close. I bolted upright, heart racing a bit, probably from the bumpy landing. What's wrong? Ethan Lane stared at me. I avoided his gaze, shook my head and headed out. I saw Lily Rose and Victor King, doing the same motion, rubbing their shoulders. Ethan Lane and I looked at each other, neither speaking. At the hotel, Lily Rose booked 2 rooms at the front desk. Original plan was her and Ethan Lane in one, me alone. But now, Victor King tagged along. Victor King rented his own room, then looked expectantly at Lily Rose. Words on his lips but swallowed. But Lily Rose in her travel carefree, directly linked arms with Ethan Lane and went ahead. Victor King had to follow weakly. I calculated, turned and coughed lightly at Victor King. Victor King, is your stomach acting up again? Victor King froze for a second, but quickly reacted, clutching his stomach, weakly calling to Lily Rose. Yeah, it hurts like hell. Lily Rose's face changed instantly, rushing to support him, full of worry. Out of nowhere. Stomach pain? Did you bring meds? Victor King leaned into her, grasping her shirt. Hem tightly, not answering directly, just groaning softly in pain. I seized the moment. Lily Rose. Why not room with Victor King? Easier to care for him. Let him rest well. We'll play in the evening. Lily Rose lowered her head to the person in her arms, nodded agreement. We were all on the same floor. After settling them in their room first, I went with Ethan Lane to mine. His room was opposite mine. Ethan Lane suddenly said, "You two tricked Sister Lily Rose earlier, right?" I put my finger to my lips, smiling and shaking my head. Secret. Back in the room, I napped some more. When I opened my eyes, the window showed a brilliant sunset. Ethan Lane called, saying, Lily Rose and them were waiting in the lobby. I roughly packed, opened the door and went down with Ethan Lane. In the lobby, Lily Rose saw me and snorted coldly in displeasure, then pulled Ethan Lane straight out. I was confused, looking at Victor King trailing behind. He gave me a helpless bitter smile, whispering, I told her, the afternoon stomach pain was fake. Victor King is good in everything, just sometimes too honest. All right. This meal's on me, as apology. At a seaside city, got a feast on seafood. We found a highly rated restaurant online. When ordering, Ethan Lane deliberately got some non-seafood dishes, because I'm allergic to seafood. Lily Rose crossed her arms, eyes darting between me and Ethan Lane, clucking her tongue. Are Ethans so thoughtful? Once food arrived, I quickly peeled a shrimp, placed it on Lily Rose's plate, smiling apologetically. I was wrong. Be magnanimous. Forgive me this time. Lily Rose picked up the shrimp and put it in her mouth, chewed vigorously, then snorted lightly through her nose. I knew it was over. Victor King silently peeled crab nearby, about to give the meat to Lily Rose when she glared daggers at him. Lily Rose grumbled, Don't copy Bailey Grant's habits. I'm not over being mad at you yet. Seeing Victor King's aggrieved face, I could only bury myself in the food Ethan Lane served me, trying not to laugh. After eating, Lily Rose wanted to find a beachside spot for drinks. Fine, tonight she's the boss. She still pulled Ethan Lane ahead as vanguard, heads together, not sure what they were chatting about. Victor King and I strolled behind. So this time you're determined? I asked the person beside me, looking at Lily Rose's back. Victor King was silent for a long time before replying. I don't want to let go anymore. I sighed. Good for you. He seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, smiling back. What about you? What's going on with you and Ethan? Huh? Us? What about us? I was a bit confused. Huh? I thought you two had nothing. I didn't let him continue. Victor King wisely changed the topic. At the place, sitting down, discovered they sold alcohol too. Lily Rose ordered Ethan Lane a juice, but insisted I drink with her, and suggested a game. Let's sit here, look up and see who gets hit on more. Loser pays. I instinctively glanced at Ethan Lane, then at Victor King, finding both their faces dark. I immediately refused. No need to compete. I'll pay. Lily Rose shot Victor King a sidelong glance. Unhappy. I'm still hung up on this afternoon. This time I got it. Lily Rose was switching tactics to make Victor King uncomfortable inside. I had to give Victor King an apologetic look and agree to play. Just picking up my glass to head to the bar, Ethan Lane grabbed my arm tightly, but Lily Rose glared, and he reluctantly let go. I patted the back of his hand, signaling not to worry. On my side, absently dealing with chat-ups, while keeping an eye on Lily Rose. She was something else. Accepting everyone, downed several drinks. Looking like she was getting really drunk, I was calculating how to end this boring game and drag her back. Victor King suddenly stood up, strode over to Lily Rose in a few steps, hugged her possessively, then lowered his head. The man chatting with them stood just then, blocking my view completely. Only heard waves of exclamations from there, and whistles. Then that man slunk away gray-faced. Victor King chin-juded at me from afar, then carried Lily Rose out. Only then was I relieved, about to find an excuse to politely ditch the girl insisting on my WeChat. Sis, I'm here to take you home. I looked surprised at Ethan Lane, standing blocking the girl. This was the first time he called me sis. The girl, interrupted, was annoyed, but hearing sis was a bit unclear on our relationship, but still persistent, demanding my WeChat. I was about to speak. Ethan Lane rattled off a WeChat number quickly, while grabbing my wrist, staring at me, lowering his voice. Sis, you're mine. I smiled at the girl over Ethan Lane, could feel the grip on my wrist tighten a bit. Ethan Lane tonight felt a bit unfamiliar, exuding an indescribable aura, a bit fierce even. I obediently let him pull me from the bar. Out the door, Ethan Lane finally let go, head down silent beside me. The atmosphere suddenly became very subdued, sea breeze blowing. My buzz dissipated a lot. That was your WeChat number earlier, right? Don't do that next time. Ethan Lane countered. Did you want to give it to her? I couldn't help bursting into laughter. Of course not. Even if you didn't come, I'd have refused. WeChat is personal privacy. Don't give yours casually either. He said very seriously. I'll come. Every time from now on. I was a bit surprised by his stubbornness. This kid's grown up, has thoughts I can't see through. I didn't respond, just continued slowly toward the hotel. After a while, Ethan Lane behind suddenly called, Bailey. I turned smiling at him. Sea breeze lifted my hem, also fluttered the teenager's shirt tail. Under the myriad light's reflection, the teenager's eyes shone startlingly bright. He opened his mouth firmly and seriously. My 10th birthday is soon. Can I ask you for one thing then? The teenager's seriousness hit me with the wind, making me vaguely want to retreat. I looked at him, trying to see the real intent behind his words. The air silent for seconds. In the end, Ethan Lane looked away first. I lowered my eyes thinking, after a moment saying, let's talk later. I didn't miss the flash of disappointment in his eyes. The next day till afternoon, Lily Rose finally sauntered in arm with Victor King. Looking at her, bundled up head to toe, even a small silk scarf around her neck, I asked with a half smile. Dressed like this, planning to surf? She lazily leaned on Victor King's shoulder. No energy. Today watch your performance. Victor King wore a smug happy face, one hand gently rubbing Lily Rose's waist. I instantly understood, gave Victor King a thumbs up, resulting in Lily Rose's face flushing red, about to charge at me. We noisily fooled around the whole way, to the beach. Looking out, all hot guys and girls in skimpy clothes. Ethan Lane can't swim. Victor King had to care for Lily Rose. In the end, only me in the water. I took off my t-shirt, ears filled with tongue clicks of admiration. Lily Rose eyed me up and down, proudly saying, no wonder I praised you. Perfect body. I applied sunscreen pretending not to hear, but Lily Rose kept winking at me, telling me to look beside. I followed her cue, only to see Ethan Lane scowling around, like a wolf pup guarding food. I helplessly patted his shoulder. Stand back a bit. He acted deaf. The next second, dust motes in the sunlight seemed to vibrate more intensely. He picked up the white t-shirt I just removed, held it to me, put it on, seemed to vibrate more intensely. He picked up the white t-shirt I just removed, held it to me, put it on. The possessiveness in those words was practically overflowing. It had crossed the line. I avoided his eyes, coldly replying, "No need." He wouldn't stop, lowering his head with watery eyes looking at me, with a plea, "Please put it on, okay?" I felt like some nerve in my body snapped. Lily Rose rushed to defuse. "Bailey Grant, Ethan brought it for you, don't refuse." Those words sounded off somehow. I turned to look at her. Lily Rose immediately laughed heartily, diverting. "Ethan, your sis call melted me too." I took the t-shirt from him and put it on, grabbed the surfboard, ignoring Lily Rose's laughter behind, and someone's gaze glued to me, strode to the sea. Just wanted to hit the water quickly to cool off. The thrill of surfing, and the joy of conquering a challenging big wave, brings an addictive rush. Once addicted, people overestimate themselves, always wanting higher difficulty. So, when I misjudged the wave's slope and height, got slammed underwater by the crest, my mind only thought, "Damn, failed again." When I surfaced again, from afar, saw Lily Rose and them, panicking, running toward me, and Ethan Lane half in the water already. My heart clenched, quickly sat up on the board, waved signaling. "I'm fine," paddled to shore. On shore, Lily Rose's eyes were red, slapped my shoulder hard, yelling, "Bailey Grant, how many times have I told you, don't chase thrills surfing those dangerous waves? You nearly scared me to death." She used my full name, really angry. I had to cajole and apologize, I was wrong. Lily Rose turned to scold Ethan Lane. "And you, can't swim yourself, rushing into the sea for what? Rescue or suicide?" Victor King hugged Lily Rose, softly coaxing. "Everyone's fine, that's best. Everyone's fine is best." Lily Rose glared daggers at me and Ethan Lane, fuming, "None of you worry free," then dragged Victor King away. Only then did I look beside. Ethan Lane stared at me throughout, silent, his face pale, lips pursed, chest still heaving violently. After a long while, he spoke hoarsely. "Are you really without any attachments?" My heart jolted hard, amazed at his sensitivity, admiring his smarts. Just from that little incident, and Lily Rose's angry words, Ethan Lane saw through. Why I dare extreme sports is because I have no attachments left, so not afraid of the worst outcome. Frankly, I'd long prepared to say goodbye to everyone. Ethan Lane clearly younger, but under his eyes mixed with heartache, disappointment and fear. The notion even I hadn't delved deep, was stripped bare this moment. My throat tightened, hand hanging by side clenched air, evading his question, lowly explaining, "In the future, don't recklessly charge like that. I'm a strong swimmer, I know my limits." Ethan Lane's eyes suddenly widened, like truly angry, turned and left. This seemed the first time he snapped at me. I lagged behind, at a loss for words. The next few days, I couldn't coax Ethan Lane, because I never gave him the answer to that question. Lily Rose is my best friend. Now with Victor King beside her, I'm at ease. Professor Dunn is my mentor. The nursing home I'd arranged long ago, periodic deductions from my card, everything set. As for Ethan Lane, we're just passengers, coincidentally sharing a life train segment. He'll fully fledge, fly to his sky. With his smarts and ability, he'll live well. So Ethan Lane asking if I have attachments. I have an answer inside, but can't say it. Some words once spoken, too heartbreaking. Though still sulking, every outing, he'd follow beside me, just silently, like pondering something. Until the holiday's last day, us four sat beachside watching sunset. Lily Rose nestled in Victor King's arms whispering. I tactfully went to another reef. Ethan Lane followed sitting beside me. We silently watched the sun, inch by inch sink into sea, waves crashing on reefs. Gentle night breeze. The moment orange afterglow vanished at horizon. The teenager beside turned to me. "Bailey, back home I want to learn swimming." A simple sentence, said with utmost seriousness. Darkness enveloped. I heard myself softly reply, "Okay." Summer break flew by. Soon after, Ethan Lane's birthday. I asked where he wanted to celebrate. The teenager shook his head saying home's fine. Invite sister Lily Rose and brother Victor King. Birthday. That day meaningful to others. I've always been indifferent, so let him do as he wants. But this time, I instead several times at the studio, caught Lily Rose hiding talking on phone. Ethan Lane at home too, right after school. Hugged his phone, not sure what's so chatty. I was curious inside, but respected them, didn't ask. Result on Ethan Lane's birthday afternoon weekend. Lily Rose and Victor King dragged me, insisting on buying cake far away, circling half the city. Then I realized, these days they must be secretly plotting behind my back. But strange, clearly Ethan Lane's birthday. Why the birthday boy joining the plan, for surprise, should be us preparing for the star. When we carried cake home, sky pitch black, I was about to ring doorbell, stopped by Lily Rose. She insisted I use key to open. Out of options with her, I puzzledly took out key, but turning lock pushing door. House pitch dark, only hallway sides, lit with candles leading to living room, in flickering candlelight. Ethan Lane holding a bouquet, eyes straight on me. I froze on spot, mind blank. Before grasping what's happening, Lily Rose pushed me from behind, laughing, urging, "What are you spacing for? Go in." That instant, I seemed to understand everything. Mood plummeted to abyss. I whirled around, said to them, "You two joining the nonsense too?" Smile on Lily Rose's lips froze. She awkwardly tugged me. "Why so serious? Ethan specially prepared all this. Just wants today with you." Lily Rose. I sternly called her full name. Victor King saw the mood off, quickly pulled Lily Rose back, shook head at her, threw out. I didn't glance at Ethan Lane once. The room sank into deadly silence. I really couldn't stay longer, said. Suddenly remembered studio business. "You eat first." Behind immediately rapid footsteps. Living room lights click on. "Bailey." Ethan Lane's voice clearly panicked. In the end I stopped. "It's my birthday today. I just thought decorate the house for atmosphere. That bouquet from supermarket new flower shop promo freebie. I just casually picked to check. Didn't expect you back right then." His voice got smaller. These words both explanation and lie. Victor King quickly mediated. "Work isn't urgent right now. Today, most important is celebrating Ethan's birthday together." I sighed inwardly, turned looking at Ethan Lane saying, "Happy birthday." He seemed relieved, hurriedly cleared the living room candles, muttering, "I'll clear these first. Kitchen has fried pork too." My heart mixed feelings, unsure what to do. This meal's atmosphere extremely stifling. Lily Rose probably sulking inside, said little. Victor King naturally quiet. Ethan Lane kept trying to serve me food, but each time, I moved to the small plate beside. Gradually he stopped, became silent. Meal end was cake eating. Wish time. In bare seconds he closed eyes wishing. I closely observed his face. Ethan Lane's features fully matured, exuding a special aura, between teenager and adult man. I stared entranced. When he opened eyes, our gazes met. I quickly looked away. I took out the prepared gift from bag for him. "Wish you a bright future." It was a simple wristwatch. Once shopping mall strolling, he lingered before this watch a few extra seconds. His eyes clearly flashed surprised joy. When looking up at me, that gaze scorching to panic. Meal over. Ethan Lane and Victor King, kitchen cleanup. Lily Rose and I to balcony loungers for breeze. She suddenly said, "You actually knew long ago, right?" I gazed at myriad night lights, deeply sighed. He's still young, doesn't understand what he's doing. He's adult now, plus his past experiences made him more mature than peers. He knows exactly what he wants. It's you. Have you figured your heart? That watch tonight wasn't cheap. I smiled indifferently. Just a watch. Lily Rose wouldn't let go. "What exactly are you afraid of?" I suddenly craved alcohol, but looking around found my hidden booze spots cleaned out by Ethan Lane. This kid determined to make me quit drinking. Lily Rose saw me distracted, dissatisfied, pushed. "Talking to you." I deep breathed, slowly said. When he was most helpless, I pulled him up. "He's sentimental, mistaking gratitude for other feelings temporarily. I'm much older, can't watch him mess up. His life long ahead. We'll see bigger world, meet more people. Then he'll understand his current limited choices, how insignificant. Plus his mother was my friend." "What you say is right, but not entirely." Lily Rose rarely so serious. "You've been planning his future all along, even relying on age, directly denying a young person's sincere heart. Frankly, you still see him as a kid, unaware his mind's more mature than yours. You're the coward." She made me laugh. "Fine, Lazy to argue with you. Anyway, don't join nonsense anymore. Lily Rose turned aside, grumbling. Who cares about you? Coward, self-deceiving. Don't cry when regretting. When they left, Lily Rose arm in arm. Victor King, at door goodbye, really didn't glance at me. Instead chatted happily with Ethan Lane. Victor King apologetically smiled at me. I could only helplessly wave them off. House suddenly quiet again. In the end I felt a bit unnatural. About to room, stopped by Ethan Lane. Bailey, last time at beach you promised me a wish. Now I've thought of it. This sentence nailed me in place. Nerves instantly tense. Ethan Lane circled in front. Suddenly bright smiled. Don't be scared. This casual remark made me laugh. Body relaxed too. I avoided, pretended nothing, turned back to him. He smiled warmly, sincerely. Wish you a lifetime safe and smooth. All dreams come true. What? Instinctively felt I misheard, but his expression told me he was serious. My heart like lightly brushed by feather. Itchy. I evaded his eyes. It's for you to wish your own birthday wish. Not for me. He lowered head, looking at watch I gifted on wrist. Suddenly changed tone. Time is ruthless, no matter how people chase. Those years gap forever horizontal there. But just now I suddenly figured, making time stop waiting for someone. Inherently unfair. Time waits for no one, but gives everyone chance. You know, I'm very patient. These disjointed words ended with his light. I, going kitchen dishwashing. That night I insomnia. Life after like clock hour hand, steadily forward. No one mentioned time topic again. Ethan Lane's college entrance scores excellent, easily into target university. But night before filling preferences, he suddenly told me, wants local city university. I very puzzled, but patiently asked, before, didn't you always want the country's best law school? Your score's definitely enough. Why sudden change? He hesitated long before lowly asking. That school's in another city. So what? I didn't see problem with other city school. He's not thoughtless. Ethan Lane looked up at me. Just that look. I instantly understood his worry. I turned, looking out living room balcony window. Gaze absent far. Mind flashing many images. I turned back to him. Tone calm. Do you remember what you said last birthday? His voice a bit hoarse, but replied, yes. I smiled. Good to remember. You're young. Should see bigger world. You'll meet better people. Then you'll discover your choices actually many. Go out more, okay? Ethan Lane's breathing suddenly chaotic. He silent. I approached. Gently hugged him. Listen this time, okay? He seemed crying. Voice trembling. Okay. I agree. I'll go see. But I'll use time to tell you my answer and choice. Day Ethan Lane to university enrollment. I didn't airport see him off. My life. Back to solo as before. Just more spacing out at home. We kept contact. Usually him sending long voice messages on recent happenings. I occasionally reply few words. Shortly after military training end. Afternoon his birthday. I told no one. Bought plane ticket, flew to his city. Arrived his school. Sky dark. Didn't plan meet him. Just wanted see his school. Happened to see him surrounded by people out school gate. Beside probably his friends. I hid in crowd watching hum. He suddenly stopped looking around. Before his gaze swept, I turned, hid inside alley. That night 11, 59 p.m. Got Ethan Lane's WeChat. Today my birthday. I stared phone. Screen time jumped from that minute to 0 a.m. Then to 0 Mote. Exactly 0 a.m. next day. I replied, happy birthday. Slept early last night. Ethan Lane didn't continue topic. Switched to other. Between us. Maintained tacit balance. Winter and summer breaks from freshman to sophomore. Ethan Lane went many different places. He made short video account, recording scenery and road stories. Videos mostly landscapes, occasionally young faces, probably his friends. And each video, he'd appear alone on camera, softly say, if sis here how nice. Gradually, under videos, people guessed account owner, must have someone liked in heart. Lily Rose screenshot comments sent me, adding, wonder when someone will wise up. I didn't reply her, just rewatched that video, then saved. To junior year, Ethan Lane had chance follow school teacher, provide legal aid to vulnerable groups. His videos started featuring various people groups, added different perspectives and reflections. I watched him transform step by step, grow into independent outstanding person. Day before college graduation, Ethan Lane posted photo on moments. Photo that watch I gifted years ago. Caption. Time not the answer, but answer hidden in time. Ethan Lane used bone years time, gave his final answer and choice. Lily Rose, Victor King and Professor Dunn all liked that post. I went to Ethan Lane's mother's grave, leaned on her headstone, alone finished a bottle wine, said nothing. Graduation day. I went to Ethan Lane's school. This time stood straight at gate, called hem. Ring once someone answered. Ethan Lane's voice full tension and anticipation. Where are you? I laugh. School gate. Other end instantly silent, only wind and breathing. Minutes later, Ethan Lane's figure appeared in sight. He ran over. When his eyes locked on me, he seemed to exhale long, then step by step toward me. I have something to tell you. His tone firm with shyness. I want a status. I looked at him, said, I agree. He seemed not reacted. Dumbly asked, what? I held laugh repeated. I said I agree. Next second, amid surrounding shocked eyes, he crashed into my arms. Mouth repeating, really? Really? Finally out of options, had to lower head kiss his lips. Only then he quieted. End main story. Extra. Mother's letter. After with Ethan Lane. Lily Rose once asked me, why finally figured out. I joked with her, wasn't he always wanting a status? Own kid can only self-pamper, he wants I give him. Lily Rose disgusted tick. Serious talk. I retracted smile, paused seconds slowly said, actually, I want to let myself go. Later, Ethan Lane founded own law firm, also reclaimed inheritance, stolen by ungrateful relatives years ago. Specific process he didn't detail, just after month continuous overtime home, hugged me tight, silent long said, it's over. I raised hand gently patted his back. Spring to autumn, another year passed. One day, Ethan Lane and I cleaned bedroom together, accidentally found letter my mom left me. I froze on spot. Ethan Lane beside gently asked, need me view with you? I shook head. He thoughtfully closed door. Alone to living room. I sat cross-legged on rug deep breathe, then carefully opened letter in hand. But he just stood head down there, not a word. On paper mom's handwriting. My little white, issues between dad and me. Never blame yourself. You born in love. But dad and mom really failed. Couldn't let you live in love forever. Though later many bad things happened. Never give up. Don't let past hold you back. Don't fill heart with hate. Be happy. Live your own life fully. Mom writes not to beg forgiveness, but want my little white understand. World definitely someone loves you. You fully deserve love. Mom's lifetime biggest regret. Can't see you grow up firsthand. But must remember, mom forever loves you. I put away letter. Outside window sunlight warm. Extra. Ethan Lane. She finally nodded. Agreed to be with me. I know clearly, even to this moment, in her heart always prepared I'd leave. But I just want stay by her forever, with her dawn to dusk.